The Sultana is the eldest daughter of the famous Kisabengo, a name infamous throughout the neighbouring countries of Udoe, Ukami, Ukwere, Kingaru, Ukwenni, and Kingaruwana, for his kidnapping propensities. Kisabengo was another Theodore on a small scale. Sprung from humble ancestry, he acquired distinction for his personal strength, his powers of harangue, and his amusing and versatile address, by which he gained great ascendancy over fugitive slaves, and was chosen a leader among them. Fleeing from justice, which awaited him at the hands of the Zanzibar Sultan, he arrived in Ukami, which extended at that time from Ukwere to Usagara, and here he commenced a career of conquest, the result of which was the cession by the Wakami of an immense tract of fertile country in the valley of the Ungerengeri. On its most desirable site, with the river flowing close under the walls, he built his capital, and called it Simbamwenni, which means the lion, or the strongest city. In old age the successful robber and kidnapper changed his name of Kisabengo, which had gained such a notoriety, to Simbamwenni, after his town; and when dying, after desiring that his eldest daughter should succeed him, he bestowed the name of the town upon her also, which name of Simbamwenni the Sultana now retains and is known by. While crossing a rapid stream, which, as I said before, flowed close to the walls, the inhabitants of Simbamwenni had a fine chance of gratifying their curiosity, of seeing the great Musungu, whose several caravans had preceded him, and who unpardonably, because unlicensed, had spread a report of his great wealth and power. I was thus the object of a universal stare. At one time on the banks there were considerably over 1,000 natives going through the several tenses and moods of the verb to stare, or exhibiting every phase of the substantive, viz., the stare peremptory, insolent, sly, cunning, modest, and casual. The warriors of the Sultana, holding in one hand the spear, the bow, and sheath or musket, embraced with the other their respective friends, like so many models of Nisus and Euryalus, Theseus and Pirithous, Damon and Pythias, or Achilles and Patroclus, to whom they confidently related their diverse opinions upon my dress and colour. The words Musungu Kuba had as much charm for these people as the music of the Pied Piper had for the rats of Hamelin, since they served to draw from within the walls across their stream so large a portion of the population; and when I continued the journey to the Ungerengeri, distant 4 miles, I feared that the Hamelin catastrophe might have to be repeated before I could rid myself of them. But fortunately for my peace of mind, they finally proved vincible under the hot sun, and the distance we had to go to the camp. As we were obliged to overhaul the luggage and repair saddles, as well as to doctor a few of the animals, whose backs had by this time become very sore, I determined to halt here 2 days. Provisions were very plentiful also at Simbamwenni, though comparatively dear. On the 2nd day I was, for the first time, made aware that my acclimatization of the ague breeding swamps of Arkansas was powerless against the mukunguru of East Africa. The premonitory symptoms of the African type were felt in my system at 10 a.m. First, general lassitude prevailed, with a disposition to drowsiness. Secondly came the spinal ache, which, commencing from the loins, ascended the vertebrae and extended around the ribs until it reached the shoulders, where it settled into a weary pain. Thirdly came a chilliness over the whole body, which was quickly followed by a heavy head, swimming eyes, and throbbing temples, with vague vision, which distorted and transformed all objects of sight. This lasted until 10 p.m., and the mukunguru left me, much prostrated in strength. The remedy, applied for 3 mornings in succession after the attack, was such as my experience in Arkansas had taught me was the most powerful corrective, viz., a quantum of 15 grains of quinine, taken in 3 doses of 5 grains each, every other hour from dawn till meridian. The first dose to be taken immediately after the first effect of the purging medicine taken at bedtime the night previous. I may add that this treatment was perfectly successful in my case and in all others which occurred in my camp. After the mukunguru had declared itself, there was no fear, with such a treatment of it, of a second attack, until at least some days afterwards. On the 3rd day the camp was visited by the ambassadors of Her Highness the Sultana of Simbamwenni, who came as her representatives to receive the tribute which she regards herself as powerful enough to enforce. But they, as well as Madame Simbamwenni, were informed that as we knew it was their custom to charge owners of caravans but one tribute, and as they remembered the Musungu Farquhar had paid already, it was not fair that I should have to pay again. The ambassadors replied with a "Ngemi" (very well), and promised to carry my answer back to their mistress, though it was by no means "very well." In fact, as it will be seen in a subsequent chapter, how the female Simbamwenni took advantage of an adverse fortune which befell me, to pay herself. With this I close the chapter of incidents experienced during our transit across the maritime region. End of chapter 5, part 3.